not hate to say that we were kidnapped and brought here. It's true. It's not hate to say that we were Jim Crow, discriminated and segregated. It's true.
Our problem has been, as black people, we've always been concerned about white America, never about...
I can't be a pessimist because I'm alive. To be a pessimist means that you have agreed that human life is an academic matter.
We might not be back. I might be in jail. I might be anywhere. But when I leave, you can remember I said with the last words on my lips that I am a revolutionary. And you're going to have to keep on saying that.
Oops. It's your man HRap coming at you live. And all right, thank you for tapping in. As usual, this is a few minutes for HRap. Every day, every weekday, I come out with another episode. Thank you for tapping in. It's important that you do so. Y'all already know what I'm asking you to do. You know I'm asking you to. I'm going to ask you to hit that like button, hit that share, tell a friend and tell a friend, share this, promote this, help me, comment. If you like what I'm saying, comment. If you don't like what I'm saying, comment. If you disagree, comment. You already know what's next. What's next? I am a one-man show, right? A one-man show. Bam! Right there. thaendofdabench.com. That's where you can get my archive shows. You have 2 pages, last month's shows, and the open page. Find out who we are, what we're doing, and you can see what we've done. I showed a video from Country Boy this day. Today, on this day, I will be doing a video from Black History and Abundance. That's another awesome channel that gives you information about our community, and we do everything. I do everything to promote any and everybody who's doing something positive in our community. Today, I'm going to talk about the DEI distraction. The DEI distraction. What is the DEI distraction? The DEI distraction is what's going on in the government today. You got everybody, all this hysteria, and they have been running this same game on us for decades, maybe even a century. Look over here what we're doing over here. You know, it is a long-standing saying in urban circles: never let the right hand know what the left hand is doing, or the left hand doing what the right hand is doing, whatever the case is. I'm all backward with that. But what I want us to understand is people are talking about certain things, and meanwhile, they're doing things over here to put you in a horrible situation and strip you of your rights, create these tariffs, which we're going to suffer from. And at that point, it is a white dominant hierarchy, predominantly white male, I believe nationalist or white nationalist hierarchy that's trying to maintain this power and this elude power over us and exhume power over us and put us in a situation to whereas even though they're slowly becoming a minority, they'll still have minority power. They will still have majority power. We need to combat these things if we want to continue to exist. What is being done on a regular basis is this. They will get you to look over here. For example, we're talking about DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. You would have to be outside of your mind to not understand that white men and especially white women benefit from DEI more than any other culture in these United States of America. You would have to be crazy to believe that they don't know that. But what we're going to do is put this propagandized foolishness out here because most people today don't take the time to do the research. They don't listen. They just hear. And then when they hear, they regurgitate. And when they regurgitate, they find themselves in a worse situation. We can no longer do that. We need to reintroduce ourselves. How do you reintroduce yourself? You reintroduce yourself by looking at the past. This is why Black history, African American studies, and things of that nature are under attack. Because when you realize what has been done in the past, you as a human being should do everything you can to elevate past that. You know, it's an old saying, if you know better, you do better. What we've forgotten to do and failed to do is know better so we can do better. We are not second-class citizens. We are not lazy. We're not shiftless. We are not put here to be subservient to any human being on the planet, no matter what culture you're from. But I'm speaking directly to my tribe. What we need to do is realize what our ancestors did. We need to realize what they were facing. and how to navigate through those pitfalls without doing what others tell us to do. Others told us that we need to integrate to get better situations. No, what we need to do is have laser focus on being the very best and never accepting anything but the best. And once you be the very best and accept nothing but the very best from yourself, whether you get an A in a class or whether you get a D in a class, you've done your very best. But if we're leaving effort on the table, then we deserve to be where we are. And that's just the bottom line. No one really cares about DEI. I'm just here to tell you that. It's about power. It's about the power that the people who don't want diversity, equity, inclusion to have. And that way they can continue with their cronyisms and promote people who are not qualified. Everyone in this gentleman who's the president of the United States cabinet is not qualified to do any of the jobs. First and foremost, with the president of the United States of America. He's a game show host. He's a carnival barker. All he does is talk loud and create fictitious stories to distract people. His vice president, before he got in office, he was in office not even a year before he did. He was elected to be vice president. And everybody that's talking about TV show hosts, you're talking about guys who are at this point just a plain, flat out weirdo, having sex parties with teenage girls, sharing the video on Congress floor, on the floor of Congress, and embarrassing himself and everybody who looks like him and everybody who looks like them, meaning his family. And then you want to complain about diversity, equity, inclusion. They also do the bait and switch. A tragedy happened last week. A plane hit a helicopter. I think 47 people, if I'm not correct. Please forgive me if I'm not correct. More than 20 people died. And instead of addressing the problems, the chaotic airport in Washington, D.C., and the Air Force base that is near that, and how those things will be commonplace or more likely in that area. We talked about diversity, equity, and inclusion. No one ever addressed the fact that the gentlemen and the men flying those machines were not part of any diversity programs. They were white men, and that does not make you non-qualified. Everybody involved was a white man, from what I understand. That does not disqualify you from the job. It's just we need to stop falling for the banana in the tailpipe. You have people who are disenfranchised, disrespecting other disenfranchised people. Again, if you take the time to learn what has happened in the world, you'll realize that happened in the 40s in World War II, when that's how they attacked the Jewish community in Nazi Germany. You would also understand that people like Adolf Hitler stated that he got his techniques on how to discriminate and disrespect people from the United States of America. And then you'll realize what's going on. But we don't take the time to realize what's going on. What we do is point fingers. We point down. We're following the blueprint for what happened in Nazi Germany to a T. You discredit the media. You discredit the government. You discredit a section of the population, and then allow other people to jump on them, and other people jump on them, and then it becomes a cyclical situation to whereas we're punching down. If you're in a fight, you never want to punch down. You don't even want to punch. You don't even want to fight someone who's not on your level or higher. When you're looking at some of the greatest athletes of all time, you don't see people like Deion Sanders, one of the fastest individuals in the history of the league, racing offensive linemen. That's an unfair race. But you will see him race a guy like Tariq Evans and other guys, and Dale Green and people like that, Herschel Walker, some of the fastest individuals in the history of the game. You don't punch down, but we've gotten comfortable punching down. We laugh at everything. Nothing, and when you're dealing with the human life, nothing is funny with the removal of it or the unaliving of it. You see, I don't know if it's a real picture with people from ICE apprehending someone with a Latinos for Trump t-shirt. Some people, that's what you get. No, that's not what you get, because this person has been duped into the foolishness. And guess what? Every lie has a portion of truth in it. Maybe, just maybe, if we start learning the law, if we start paying attention, and we get out of our feelings and stop falling for the nonsense of, I need to protect my peace. No, you need to protect your family. You need to protect your community. You need to protect your city. You need to protect your state. And if you truly a patriot, you want to protect the United States of America. But if we are siding with discriminating against a group of people, then guess what? We're wrong. We are wrong. We can no longer fall for that banana in the tailpipe. See, they even did it over the weekend in the sports world. I'll give you an example of the bait and switch. And we are going to ignore, you're going to ignore what we're actually doing. And you're going to start 1 or 2 fights over here. Don't get me wrong. I'm a tremendous sports fan. I love the interaction of athletes in just about everything. Hockey, soccer, baseball, football, basketball, college, and professional. I enjoy it all. Boxing. I'm not really into MMA, but that's neither here nor there. These are the things that help us get through a week. That's how you protect your mental. You take yourself out of it. You don't ignore what's really happening by immersing yourself into what's not really real. But back to the point. The Dallas Mavericks traded a 25-year-old superstar by the name of Luka Doncic for Chicago's own Anthony Davis, who was previously playing for the Los Angeles Lakers. Everybody immediately, nobody paid attention to what was really going on. This is what I'm speaking about. Anthony Davis, at age 31, soon to be 32, is a superstar. Luka Doncic at age 26, 25, soon to be 26, is a superstar. One of them is an offensive demon. The other one is a well-rounded basketball player. It is the elder of the two. And he was traded to the Los Angeles Lakers without being shopped around, without taking any other offers. He was just sent straight to the Lakers. Oh my God, set the world on fire. But that was the bait and switch. That was the bait and switch that I tell you about. Why was that the bait and switch? Because instead of people taking 5 seconds, see, we're living in this world where I have to be the first person to post, I have to be the first person to get the story out, I have to be the first person to drop my opinion. So everybody shift over to me, and it is a me society. Never mind, never paying attention to what's going on, never paying attention to the conversation, never paying attention to the actual facts. And you know what's sad? I haven't heard anybody in the NBA complain about this. Now, this is my point. Luka Doncic, NBA superstar, the younger of the two, the greater upside of the two, but he has a history of being not being in the best shape possible, eating the things that he shouldn't eat to be a productive, high-level athlete, and so forth and so on. So at some points, he has soft tissue injuries because he's not maximizing his body. Anthony Davis, he has a few injuries as well, but he has injuries that have nothing to do with his conditioning. He step on someone's foot, roll his ankle, and things of that nature. Hey, you can't control that. You can't control that. That's just bad luck or happenstance, if you will. Luka Doncic was up for a contract it's called the Supermax. $70 million a year. $70 million a year. The Dallas Mavericks, owned by a new group, did not want to pay. They thought the risk was not going to be worth the reward. Even though Luka Doncic just took that group of men and their ownership group to NBA Finals, losing to the Boston Celtics, they didn't have the faith in him to repeat it, so they got rid of him and brought in Anthony Davis, a person who fits right into that situation. No one's talking about the fact that Luka is not going to be able to maximize his earning potential. No one's talking about that. You know what they're talking about? They immediately went to our friend, Mr. James, Mr. LeBron James. LeBron orchestrated this. The first portion of the story that came out, LeBron does not know anything about this. Anybody with some sense understood that would draw all the attention to LeBron, never acknowledging the fact that this group of people did not want to pay that $70 million a year. They traded him, and that shortened his money. Well, he'll get some money in 2 years, and he'll get even more money. But he should be getting paid now. This is the same tactic that they use when they tell you shouldn't take as much money as humanly possible Even though you've worked in the gym or worked on the field or worked at your craft, you should maximize your earning potential. You should be working towards a $65,000, $70,000, or $100,000 range. So I'm going to give up $25 million for a $25,000 ring. Make it make sense, please. It doesn't. And this is how they distract us on a regular basis. Now the conversation is LeBron. Now the conversation is the trading deadline. Then you actually have some people talking about the game. And then you got other athletes saying, well, who's vulnerable? If he could get traded, it's not me. But the real story is Luka Doncic just got cheated out about maybe $300 million, about $150 million. Because he's going to maximize his earning potential, he's going to have to take a 2 or 3 year deal with a 1-year option, a 2-year option, and then go forward. Or they may coerce him into taking a gigantic deal, but it's not going to be the max deal. Darren Fox did the same thing. I'm not winning, and I want to go to the Spurs, and he cut money off his thing. The ownership group has nobody talking about the fact that the ownership groups, the NBA, they have duped people into having conversations about LeBron James and Luka's inability to work out. And nobody's talking about how much money they are going to keep in their pockets because Luka is no longer in Dallas. So make it make sense, people. And that's what they do to us with our rights. We talk about, how does that tie in? Because we're talking about an airplane that crashed. We talked about DEI. We talked about white men being overlooked. They throwing dog whistles out there saying certain people are not going to get there. And guess what? Nobody's talking about how they can fix the problem. Nobody's talking about these people's families. They may have children. They definitely have loved ones. You had a man put out a tweet that said, I hope they find my wife's body in the Potomac River. Those are the conversations we need to be having. But instead, what we're having is diversity, equity, and conclusion conversations. It is debate and switch. And meanwhile, nobody's really talking about tariffs on TV. Nobody's talking about how you will not be able to afford a meal at some point, potentially. Nobody's talking about any of those things. Nobody's talking about the fact, I think 68,000 barrels of oil 68 million gallons of oil is shipped from Mexico on a regular basis. Nobody's talking about the avocados and the strawberries and the things that come out of Mexico that help your prices stay lower. Meanwhile, they're doing that. And you have a group of people saying, Black people don't deserve this. They complain too much. Black people don't do this. Black women don't do that. And we're whiners, but you're going to pay for it. And I understand my brothers and sisters when they sit around and say, mess around and find out. But we can't afford to mess around and find out. But what we can do is this. Look at this video from Black History in Abundance. It is an important portion of history I want you guys to pay attention to. It is something I truly enjoyed as I watched it. Here's the video now. I already know I'll be back shortly. Listen to this Black History in Abundance. I'm going to play 2 minutes. And if you want to watch it in its entirety, check me out on my channel at YouTube. Excuse me.
While many Black Americans view themselves as at least somewhat successful and are optimistic about their financial future, previous work by Pew Research Center also finds most believe U.S. institutions fall short when it comes to treating Black people fairly. A new analysis suggests that many Black Americans believe the racial bias in U.S. institutions is not merely a matter of passive negligence. It is the result of intentional design. Specifically, large majorities describe the prison, 74%, political, 67%, and economic, 65% systems in the U.S., among others, as having been designed to hold Black people back, either a great deal or a fair amount. Blacks' mistrust of U.S. institutions is informed by history, from slavery to the implementation of Jim Crow laws in the South, to the rise of mass incarceration, and more. Several studies show that racial disparities in income, wealth, education, imprisonment, and health outcomes persist to this day. And we're not just complaining when we say this. I think a lot of times in these conversations, people seem to think we're taking the victim mentality, but this stuff is actually backed by scientific research. So we just want to make that clear.
Now, as I was saying and got tongue-tied before I showed you that video, you can watch that video in its entirety on Black History in Abundance on YouTube, or you can do your boy a favor. You can do your man HRap a favor and go over to www, right there, www.thaendofdabench.com. Watch it in its entirety. Black History in Abundance, get credit. I get credit for the visit. And then you hit that like, hit that share, tell a friend to tap in, leave a comment, and then everybody, one hand is washing the other, and both hands are washing the face. But as I was saying, we must get to the point where we can no longer be taken advantage of, duped, or mistreated. And that's the life we're living right now. We are living a misunderstood, duped, and mistreated life. We don't have to. We don't have to. I've mentioned this on my program on several occasions. If you ever wonder why at the beginning of the Depression in 1929, and you'll find out about this in the video, if you go to www.thaendofdabench.com or Black History in Abundance here on YouTube, to the mid 60s, no one ever really talks about 1929 to 1959 in the United States of America. One of the reasons I assume that we don't talk about that is that because Black people were coming into their own. We were purchasing land because we understood land equals power. We were building businesses. We were building industries. We were inventing things. There was a Black man who started his own car, like a Ford Motor Company, started his own car company. We were doing things that help us become a great nation. And I do mean a nation inside of a nation. See, this is why I said it's time. This is how you introduce yourself. We start having communal conversations. We start talking to family members. I didn't ask you to be best friends with that family member that you don't understand or get along with. I'm not asking you for that. What I am asking you to do is this. Understand that we don't have to get along to move along. If you want to go far, you go by yourself. If you want to go somewhere, you go by yourself. If you want to go far, you go with a group. You don't have to be best friends with everybody on your block. But guess what? If you and everybody on your block have an agreement to cut your lawn, to throw trash in the trash receptacles, and to protect each other's children, wives, and elders, guess what happens? It's a safer community. I don't have to be your friend. Excuse me. I don't have to be your friend in order to understand that your children deserve the best education humanly possible. And guess what? When your children have the best education humanly possible, that means it's less likely for them with living in lack to attempt to hurt me or anyone in the community. Again, we don't have to get along to work together. This is how you introduce the greatest community of people that look like us in the history of the world. And it's a generation right before the baby boomers that's called the greatest generation. It's time to make this the greatest generation in the Black community because we have access. We have ability. We have history on our side. And that's why on the thumbnail I have a gun. Because that only thing that was missing from back in the day is the protection of our community. I'm not advocating for violence against anyone. I am advocating for self-defense. If someone attempts to hurt the people that I care for, I will do anything and everything humanly possible to ensure that the people that I care for see a brighter day tomorrow. And that's what every human being in the history of this planet should do. People, we can no longer send our children to school and say a C is palatable. It is not. If you are not doing your very best, you're doing a disgrace to you and your family. And we need to start talking to our children and explaining to them that if you're not in school giving 110%, you are giving 1%. You need to be doing everything you can. Fun is fun. Difficulties are part of life. If you're not good at math and the best you can get is a C, hey, guess what? That's your best. If you're not good at reading out loud, the best you can do is stumble through, because that's the best you can do. But there's far more people who, if they actually applied themselves, would excel at mathematics as well as articulating the things that are inside their head and communicating them to the people that you want to understand you. So we can no longer accept, well, if you don't have the ability to articulate your problems, you can't just utter 4 or 5 different words and expect people to understand. We can no longer focus on ourselves. We need to focus on everybody outside of us. Because if I care for you and you care for me and we care for each other, now that's 2 people that's working together for peace, for the advancement of our community. Again, I'm going to continue to say it as long as I have breath in my lungs. Going forward, we must work for our great-grandchildren's great-grandchildren. And we need to have at least 1 doctor in every community from that community, at least 1 attorney in every community from that community, for pharmacists, farmers, and things of that nature. We need to seek out Black pharmacists, farmers markets, and things of that nature. That way we can reduce the price on some of the things that we overpay for, and then they won't be poisoned. We won't be at the behest of the people who are attempting to oppress us with the laws and things of that nature. We can no longer be worried that they're going to defund HBCUs because we're going to refund the HBCUs. They can't. And for one, and when you learn and see, if you're giving 110% and not just memorizing things, see, it's a difference in learning and memorization. See, learning is something that will stick with you for into perpetuity. You will never forget it. Memorizing things, once you pass the test, those things are outside of your head. Things like the Constitution. And when you understand civics, then you'll understand that the President of the United States has no precedence to control the purse strings, meaning the finances of the company. He can sign executive orders, and guess what? Just because you are living in a district in which a Republican is representing you, he's not going to listen to me. Based on what? Did you call them? Did you organize 300, 400, 500 people to call in shifts? You know what? You don't even need 300, 400, 500. Did you organize 25 people? 5 people call at 9 a.m. 5 people call at 10 a.m., 11 a.m., 12 a.m., 1 a.m. Then the first group calls back. Are we doing that? See, the thing is, you assume, and you've been duped into assuming he's a Republican. He's not going to listen. But no, what you do is download that 5 Calls app that I've told you about on several occasions. Get your representative, call them, and leave a voicemail. If you're not comfortable speaking person to person with a person who is a civil servant, even though they work for you, leave a message to the DC office. That call will be logged. No one can do away with it. At that point, when enough of us are complaining about one thing, you will either not have that job or you'll do the bidding for us. These are the things that we must learn. We must learn civics. We must learn the Constitution, because in order to play in this game, you must know the rules of the game. And once you know the rules of the game, you share the rules with me. And then now it's 2 people knowing the rules of the game, and then it's 4 people, then it's 24 people, then it's 124 people, then it's 24,000 people working in the same direction. That's how the wicked got to control, because they bank on our ignorance. They bank on our inability to basically engulf information, process information, and use that information to move forward. Being smart is nothing. Being intelligent is what you want to be. Intelligent is obtaining information and practically applying that information to your life. Being smart is passing the test and never be able to use that information again. You make the call on which one you want to be. As I state every day, hit that like button, please. Hit that share button, please. Tell a friend to look at this. And if they don't like what I'm saying, tell them leave a comment. And if they do like what I'm saying, have them subscribe, come back, and we can have conversation. Thank you for tapping in. As usual, y'all know who I am. I am Brian HRap B. Williams. Thank you for tapping in. 2 fingers, 1 word, and watch it to the end, because I want you to hear what Dr. Amos Wilson has to say.
And it is necessary for those people who rule over us and who rule over African people the world over, if those people are to stay in power, they must destroy our ability to love each other in a healthy sort of way. This is why